According to a report that came out from the Washington Post over this past weekend, members of Donald Trump's staff, his campaign staff, his, just everyday, we're your advisors kind of staff, but they're looking to implement the Insurrection Act on day one of Donald Trump's second term, assuming, of course, that he wins the 2024 presidential election. And the report says that they have outsourced, unofficially outsourced is how they put it, this work of legally figuring out how to institute the Insurrection Act to a group called Project 2025. Now, this group made up of, Republicans from think tanks, a lot of, MAGA freaks, Project 2025 has been kind of behind a lot of the really horrible things that we have learned that Donald Trump wants to do if he gets back into the White House. So adding in the fact that they want to invoke the Insurrection Act, which officially, by the way, if they were to do that, would give them the ability to not only unleash the United States military here on our streets to enforce whatever laws Donald Trump wants to put in place, it would basically give them the freedom to go and lock up, round up anybody that Donald Trump deems to be an enemy of the United States of America. People like me, people like you, if we're on his radar and he invokes the Insurrection Act, we could be snatched out of our homes and we could be locked up indefinitely. So it's a pretty significant thing that, according to this Washington Post report, Trump's people aren't even denying that this is a thing they're considering doing. Now, as shocking as this is, because honest to God, it's shocking. This kind of seems like a big deal. This should be the biggest deal in the United States of America today. Again, because they're not denying it. And if they're not denying it, then I have no doubt that this report from Washington Post is accurate. But this isn't, like I said, it is shocking, but it's also not surprising. Donald Trump, while he was president of the United States, and even after, and hell, even before, he admired dictators. He admires people like Erdogan. He admires people like Vladimir Putin. He admires people like Kim Jong-un. He loves the fact that these folks have absolute power. He loves the fact that they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. I mean, how many Russian oligarchs that have spoken out against Russia's invasion of Ukraine, how many of them have fallen out of windows in the last year and a half, right? We all know what's actually happening. They're not really just falling out of windows because they're the clumsiest group of people on the planet. They're being murdered by Russia. Kim Jong-un. I mean, political prisoners abound in North Korea. Generations of punishment, as they call it. Donald Trump loves that. He loves the idea of being able to lock up and just silence anyone that is not a 100% MAGA hat wearing cult member. And that is what this is all about. And he is having people look up and find the tools to be able to do what he wants to do so he can become the American version of Vladimir Putin or the American version of Kim Jong-un or an even worse amalgamation of the two. That's what Trump wants for America. And this should be the biggest story in the country right now because this has widespread ramifications to every single person. If there is not a MAGA hat hanging in your closet right now, Trump wants to come after you. And I cannot make that warning any more clear. And I'm not being, talking in hyperbole here. They're working on the plan, folks. They're working on the plan. And this is something every single one of us needs to take deadly seriously because that's exactly what it is. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.